still be rickety on your pins from your accident.
Yes, Poole said quietly. He stood tautly, waiting until the foreman left. Under the enlarging lens system, the plastic tape assumed a new shape. A wide track, along with hundreds of thousands of punch holes, worked their way. I thought so, Poole said. Not recorded as charge on a ferrous oxide layer, but actually punch-free slots. Under the lens, the strip of the tape visibly oozed forward. Very slowly, but it did, at a uniform velocity, move in the direction of the scanner. The way I figure it, he thought, is that the punched holes are on gates. It functions like a player piano. Solid is no, punch hole is yes. How can I test it? How can I test this? Obviously by filling in a number of holes. He measured the amount of tape left on the delivery spool, calculated, at great effort, the velocity of the tape's movement, and then came up with a figure. If he altered the tape visible at the ingoing edge of the scanner, 5 to 7 hours would pass before that particular time period arrived. He would, in effect, be painting out stimuli due a few hours from now. With a microbrush, he swabbed a relatively large section of the tape with opaque varnish, obtained from the supply kit accompanying the microtools. I have smeared out stimuli for about half an hour, he pondered. Have covered at least 1,000 punches. It would be interesting to see what changes, if any, overcame his environment 6 hours from now. 5.5 hours later, he sat at Cracker's, a superb bar in Manhattan, having a drink with Densman. You look bad, Densman said. I am bad, Poole said. He finished his drink, a Scotch sour, and ordered another. Family accident? In a sense, yes, Densman said. Was it because you found out about yourself? Raising his head, Poole eyed him in the murky light of the bar. Then you know. I know, Densman said. That I should call you Poole instead of Mr. Poole, but I prefer the latter, and will continue to do so. How long have you known? Poole said. Since you took over the firm, I was told that the actual owners of Triplan, who were located in the Proc system, wanted a Triplan run by an electric ant, whom they could control. They wanted a brilliant and forceful... The real owners? This was the first he had heard about this. We got 2,000 stockholders scattered everywhere. Marvis Bay and her husband, Ernan, on Prox 4, controlled 51% of voting stock. This has been true from the start. Why didn't I know? I was told not to tell you. You were to think that you yourself made all company policy with my help, but actually I was feeding you what the base fed to me. I'm a figurehead, Poole said. In a sense, yes, Densman nodded, but you'll always be Mr. Poole to me. A section of the far wall vanished, and with it several people at tables nearby, and through the big glass side of the bar, the skyline of New York City flickered out of existence. Seeing his face, Densman said, What is it? Poole said harshly, Look around. Do you see any changes? After looking around the room, Densman said, No. What like? You still see the skyline? Sure. Smuggy as it is. The light winked. Now I know, Poole said. He had been right. Every punch hole covered up meant the disappearance of some objects in his reality world. Standing, he said, I'll see you later, Densman. I have to get back to my apartment. There's some work I'm doing. Good night. He strode from the bar and out into the street, searching for a cab. No cabs. Those two, he thought. I wonder what else I painted over. Prostitutes, flowers, prisons. There, in the bar's parking lot, Dan Smith squibbed. I'll take that, he decided. There are still cabs in Dan Smith's world. He can get one later. How? Anyhow, it's a company car, and I hold a copy of the key. Presently he was in the air, turning towards his apartment. New York City had not returned. To the left and right, vehicles and buildings, street, pet runners, signs, and in the center, nothing. How can I fly into that? He asked himself. I'd disappear, or would I? He flew toward the nothingness. Smoking one cigarette after another, he flew in a circle for 15 minutes, and then, soundlessly, New York reappeared. He could finish his trip. He stubbed out his cigarette, a waste of something so valuable, and shot off in the direction of his apartment. If I insert a narrow, opaque strip, he pondered as he unlocked his apartment door, I can... His thoughts ceased. Someone sat in his living room chair watching a Captain Kirk on TV. Sarah, he said, nettled. She rose, well padded but graceful. You weren't at the hospital, so I came here. I still have that key that you gave me back in March after we had that awful argument. Oh, you look so depressed. She came up to him, peeped into his anxious face. Does your injury hurt that badly? It's not that. He removed his coat, tie, shirt, and then his chest panel. Kneeling down, he began inserting his hands into the microtool glove, pausing as he looked up at her and said, I found out I'm an electric ant, which from one standpoint opens up a certain possibility, which I'm exploring now. He flexed his fingers at the far end of the left Waldo. A micro screwdriver moved, magnified into visibility by the enlarging lens system. You can watch, he informed her, if you so desire. She had begun to cry. What's the matter? What's the matter? He demanded savagely, without looking up from his work. It's just so sad. You've been such a good employer to all of us at Triplend. We respect you so, and now it's all changed. The plastic tape had unpunched margin at the top and bottom. He cut a horizontal strip, very narrow, and then after a moment, a great concentration, cut the tape itself, 4 hours away from the scanning head. He then rotated the cut strip into a right angle piece in relation to the scanner, pressed it in place with a micro heat element, then reattached the tape reel to its left and right sides. He had, in effect, inserted the dead 20 minutes into the unfolding flow of his reality. It would take effect, according to his calculations, a few minutes after midnight. Are you fixing yourself? Sarah asked timidly. Paul said, I'm freeing myself. Beyond this, he had several alterations in mind, but first he had to test his theory. Blank, unpunched tape meant no stimuli, in which case the lack of tape. That look on your face, Sarah said. She began gathering up her purse, coat, rolled up Oddbit magazine. I'll go. I can see how you feel about finding me here. Stay, he said. I'll watch the Captain Kirk with you. He got into his shirt. He got into his shirt. Remember years ago when there were, 20 or 22 TV channels before the government shut down the independents? She nodded. What would it have looked like, he said, if the TV set projected all channels onto the cathode ray screen at the same time? Could we have distinguished anything in the mixture? I don't think so. Maybe we can learn to be selective, to do our own job of perceiving what we wanted to and what we didn't. Think of possibility. If our brain could handle 20 images at once, think of the amount of knowledge which could be stored during a given period.
After all, tomorrow is another day.